Right. 10 very useful non-fiction books to read. Alright. Silence on the Mountain. This is one of the best non-fiction books I've read. It is a very, shall we say, interesting book in that it describes a struggle between two anti-communist groups, the Germans and the local business community. It is nominally about the communists, but they are in fact completely irrelevant. Next, A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. I actually have it right in front of me, but I don't show it. This is one of the best books on how the universe was created, and of course it's brief, to the point, and exactly what people need to understand how physics works in a world before the Earth was created. Next, The Wealth of Nations. This is a very important book because it's underrated. It's one of the best economics books out there, and Adam Smith actually understands his history. Second, also by Adam Smith, Theory of Moral Sentiments. This is one of the better books on philosophy I've written because Smith wasn't just an economist, he was a philosopher. Next, The Cambridge Ancient History, Volume 13, because it describes, very importantly, how the Roman Empire actually was before it fell, and, very importantly, what led to its fall. Next, Japan and the League of Nations. This is an important book because it describes how Japan approached its foreign policy prior to the outbreak of the Second World War. Next, Halsall, Guy Halsall's Worlds of Arthur. A very important book because it describes how Britain during the Dark Ages actually worked. Not how people imagine it worked, but actually worked. He has a pretty good translation of Gildas, and of course he describes how and when the settlement of Britain by the Northern Germans came about. Next we have Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English People. This is very important to read along with Halsall because it shows you how Halsall treats the sources and how Bede actually saw the history of Britain prior to the early 8th century. Next, Wales and the Britons, Oxford University Press. You gotta go with the Oxford version. Wales and the Britons, the first volume, the 352 the 11th century. This is the best history of Wales that I've seen. The best general history is focused exactly on what needs to be said and understood about the remnants of the Britons, that is the Welsh, because the Anglo-Saxons did not take all of Britain. They only took the part that was most Romanized. The part that was least Romanized stayed how it was, but there were a lot of changes between the 4th century AD and the 11th century AD. Next and last, the quotations from Chairman. This is one of the most widely read books in the world, but for some reason Americans don't use it to understand China. China can indeed be understood, but it must be understood through the light of the ruling party. And the ruling party is a socialist party, it is a communist party, so one must understand China through its founder, and that is Chairman Mao. So you have to go with the quotations. That's the part that's given to the people to understand. Do not, I repeat, do not go with the selected works. The selected works are for people who don't understand history. The quotations are for people who want to understand China as it actually exists. Thank you.